Welcome to Barry T's Garage. Good to have you back. Okay, so Andy, can you describe a little bit how this vehicle operates? It's funny how sometimes the oldest ones are the hardest ones
Yeah,
for you to understand.
they actually are. So it's not, there's no owner manual either. So
Right,
I had to
right.
figure this one out by myself. 1899 is the first production front wheel drive in existence.
Wow. Look at that.
Douche bonnet motor.
Okay, now is that, I'm trying to learn about poppet valves.
The
That
poppet
looks
valves,
like a
yep.
poppet valve to
Yep.
me. And how did the carburation work on this thing? I see a tank.
Yeah, tanks here, float bowls over here,
Uh-huh.
and all this the CFM chamber.
Okay, and what was the fuel of choice back in that day?
Just regular leaded fuel.
That's what you use.
Yep, you have leaded fuel because the lead actually acts as a lubricant.
Okay.
So
Right.
1899 is actually the most scariest car we have in here to drive, because if you turn this wheel, it goes that direction.
Okay,
And
wait a minute. The whole front
instantaneous.
pivots.
It's instantaneous, and it's there's a video of me when I first got it running and went to take off in it, and I'm like, oh, because it was just all over the place. So
Wow. So you have to keep it steady.
oh yeah, very much. So here's your gear shifter, just a high and low.
Okay.
And then this is your it'll be the timing.
Right.
So
Okay.
and then over here's your throttle.
Okay. So if you can twist the throttle for me,
Yep.
I'll see what's moving back here. There it is. All right. And what happens if you do the timing lever?
There's
again?
on the other side over here.
Oh, there's the Magneto moving.
Yep.
Wow. Very good. And now how does this, okay, and I'm glad you have some labels here. Someone's put some labels for the muffler.
That's the exhaust, and then your coil's over here.
Uh-huh.
And then you have a 6-volt battery. It's actually under the seat.
Okay.
It's just a little small 6-volt battery.
Oh yeah, that's all it takes.
Yep. And then your hand crank,
To get it
it
started.
goes right through the wheel.
Wow. Now, and how do the gears change here? Is it just
So here's your
engaging?
clutch,
Uh-huh.
and then your high and low. Got to really move it to.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yep, you can see it there. They're engaging one or the other. Okay. Yep. That's interesting.
Mhm.
They had it all figured out. Now, does it drives both wheels?
Yes.
Differential. Well, wait a second. If the whole thing pivots, it doesn't even need a differential, does it?
Nope. It's direct drive.
Yeah.
Now this is actually your differential, and your pinion is actually coming off the motor. So
Okay. So the pinion comes off of that to the ring gear on
Yep.
that, and
and
off
then
it
you just
goes.
your clutch.
Fantastic. Wow. Yeah, I can imagine this is a handful to drive.
Yeah, it's scary. So, not as scary as some of the. Because like the VSA 3-wheeler, that little race car in that other room over there,
Yeah.
and the there's another one, the Elvis. The clutch is on the left, brakes on the right, gas pedals in the middle.
In the middle.
And you only make that mistake once. So,
Right.
So.
And you want to live to talk about it. Right?
yeah. So
That's very good.
armature. So these magnets and they turn around on armature, create electricity from this generator that run this electric motor attached from the transmission that push the car down the road.
So all the engine pushes or
all the engine does is spin the
generator.
magnetic coils. That's all it does.
Dynamic coil.
Yep.
And
they call it the car of 1,000 speeds.
Okay.
Because the lever on the steering wheel is like a slot car.
Okay.
So the more you pull it down, the faster it goes.
Right on.
Yep.
Wow. So yeah, it's a gas electric hybrid.
Yep. Hybrid.
And I guess a modern version of that would be the Chevy Volt. I
Chevy
think?
Volt, exactly. It would be the closest similarity to this.
Right.
Yep.
And so they're just kind of working off the 1917 version.
Yeah. So
Now-
and I'm not up on electricity, so this is kind of a new era for me to kind of jump into. So I actually had this one running, and we had some electrical issues, so we had to pull it back apart again. So that's why that one's apart. But it was running and driving.
It was, yeah. So this is the one that you're demonstrating.
This is the one that's just the chassis, just a running display. That's
Right.
all it's going to be.
Okay.
And then the other one we're going to restore.
Okay.
And then this one we're going to leave all original.
Okay, so you're going to have an unrestored, a
Fully
restored,
restored, and then a
and then
running
a
display.
demonstration version.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
very good. Wow, what great coverage of hybrid vehicles. Now, is there anything very interesting or different about this engine itself?
It's an industrial engine. If you see this piece up here,
Yep.
we actually worked with Jay Leno's guy to reproduce this piece because,
Okay.
like when he had his problem with his, it was the same thing. It was leaking water.
Okay.
Because aluminum back then was so porous, and it just rotted.
Yeah.
So
the casting was
exactly
what it was, and
so we had to make another one for this one actually, or the other one.
okay.
So that's a Baker motor.
Uh-huh.
And then the other one's a Buddha motor, and then this is a Buddha motor.
Okay.
So same kind of car, but they just use a different motor. So,
Right.
Yep.
The motor was kind of, I wouldn't say quite incidental, but it wasn't really the innovative part
It
of
was
it.
a universal part.
Right.
Yeah.
When you say unrestored, this was obviously found
This
somewhere.
is exactly how we found it.
You know, and there's a real fascination to that also.
Well, I like the fact that it's only original once.
Right? It is. That's true. There's 100% right. And again, using a lot of wood mixed with metal for the body.
Yeah, and I mean, look at this thing. I mean, it is very original and all. I mean, it's just in really good shape. No termites, no woodworms.
Wow.
I mean, just phenomenal.
Yeah, when you think of it that way. I mean, this fabric is original, isn't
Yeah,
it?
all original.
That's fascinating. Well, with the pull-down shades,
Yep.
this is quite a car.
Yep.
Wow. Big drum brakes. Now, did it have...
Normally, they won't have drum brakes in the front.
okay, that's what
this is
I was
actually an
wondering.
option that they sold back in the day.
Uh-huh.
And you very rarely see an older car from the early 1900s that has front brakes.
That's right.
Normally, they're all rear brake.
That's right.
So,
Yep.
because you got to think, there weren't that many cars on the road back then.
Right.
So,
How often are you going to use the brakes?
well, exactly. Maybe a car walking the road or something like that, so.
That's right.
So this is called the Reyonnah. It's a 1951 Reyonnah. It's a prototype of the rest of them. Basically, they were designed like New York. There's very little parking.
Mhm.
In France, there's very little parking. That's why it was designed.
Okay.
So basically, this is in parking position.
Okay.
So this would actually come down, and that's
Oh,
how you would drive the car. And you would pull up where two cars were parked.
Uh-huh.
You get out. You raise it up, and you push it in between two cars. So,
Oh, that is hilarious.
yeah,
I can't believe I just saw that happen.
Yeah, it uses a motorcycle engine. That's a 175 motorcycle engine.
And fortunately, that's not at the end you have to pick up. Wow. Now, does that steering wheel change position at all? Or that's just how it works?
When you raise it up, you lose steering.
Right. Okay.
So you're basically you're pulling it into the parking spot.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the angle of the steering wheel.
Yeah, that all stays the same.
Interesting. Well, so that's clearly aircraft engineering.
Related, yes.
Related,
Yep.
yeah. That is wild. Well, thank you. That's
You're welcome.
quite a trick.
Yep.